I've been trying to do these like hypotheticals to really put you on the spot every week.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Your answer is always like by default is Charlie. Like that's who you're going to pick.
I mean, he does some really adorable stuff. I think he looks so good on his date.
I think he does too.
I know he's sweating.
Little wet,
but like his shirt open, his hair like kind of scruffy. I think he looks amazing. And I think it's funny that they tried to make him look unappealing.
Right. So in this episode where there's a predicament amongst the gang where there's this upsetting news for Charlie, and they're afraid that he's going to go, quote, postal, which is something you don't really hear that often anymore. Anyways, so they're concerned about Charlie flipping out and killing everyone in the gang. If you had to have one of the gang protect you from Charlie, who would it be and why?
That one's interesting.
Because you can't pick Charlie. That's why it's interesting.
Right. That's why. Well, sort of, yeah. So here's an interesting point, because my go-to would have been Frank, because they have such a strong connection. If anybody could get through to Charlie in a state, it would be Frank.
Absolutely.
But that warthog, his self-preservation might kick in. And
you wouldn't be safe.
He would step aside.
Right.
Though having said that, I'm forced to choose the rest of the gang, and there's no chance that any of them would not step aside just as easily as he would, if not more easily.
Right.
So is there a chance that the gang would be like somehow forced?
Yeah. Let's say that for unknown reasons, maybe you owe them money or something. They need to keep you alive.
Okay. If I knew they weren't just going to be like, well, fuck this, because that's like every other episode is them stepping out of the way of responsibility and doing the right thing. Can I pick season 14 Mac?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think that's an acceptable answer.
Just for the body mass alone.
Yeah, Mac's a little scary because you do, around that same time, not the same season, but around that same time, you do see him try to choke out Charlie, and he chokes out himself.
Good night, dude. Good night, bitch. Your head of security just choked himself out.
Yeah, okay, you're right. And now that I think about it, the show also revolves around him being incompetent during what he likes to think of as his security role.
Right.
Oh, geez. Oh, you know what? I'm going to pick D. I'm going to switch my answer, because
I think that's a good answer.
Every time something comes up weirdly where they're not expecting her to do well, I mean, most specifically the football tryouts.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Now the coach got to hear about this.
Yeah, I could see her like accidentally kicking him in the face and not knowing like what she was doing really, but actually doing a good job of defending me and like accidentally knocking him out with like one hit.
Good answer.
Yeah, I get, which is like the opposite of Mac. Like D is like an underdog in terms of raw physical prowess and violence because of the weird proportions of her bird-like body, whereas Mac is like a Tesla with a wompy wheel.
Come on, do a beautiful show. It's gonna be awesome. And some other musical stuff.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of It's Always Stockholm in Los Angeles. Today we are talking about Season 5, Episode 5, The Waitress is Getting Married. Written by Charlie Day and Glenn Howerton, directed by, yet again, Fred Savage. My name is Nate Harold.
And my name is Will Noon. I apologize if I don't sound great or if there are monkeys edited out of the background because I am in Costa Rica.
We had to reschedule this, and I was just thinking how to spin that to our advantage, and I could have said like the only It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia recap podcast canceled by howler monkeys.
Yeah, exclusive.
Because I think right now we are the number one It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia recap podcast with one host in Sweden and one host in Costa Rica.
Yeah, definitely.
Number one.
Number one, absolutely, top of the game.
This episode starts with a D-centric opening scene.
This is another good Sunny thing that they don't use it this effectively as often as I would like, but sometimes you get like a good joke before the camera even opens.
Right.
Because you get your classic, at 11:40 a.m. on a Saturday. She dives into describing the fit of something. She's like, I don't know what's going on in my hip region, and it's, what is she saying it's doing to her boobs?
Doing nothing from my hip area and making a mess of my boobs. You know what, why don't you go grab 5 more?
So there's a really great literal opening line that the line hits before the show opens.
It's a great feature of Always Sunny because it's like there's this like moment of suspense when you can hear them talking, but you don't see what's happening.
Yeah.
And like
exactly.
Seeing this episode for the first time, would anyone have guessed that she was trying on wedding dresses? Probably not.
I don't. No. I mean, I guess you could randomly guess, but if you knew the show, you would definitely not guess that.
Right.
But we later find in the scene that she's been trying on dresses quite often. Over
a year, it seems like.
Yeah.
Which the shopkeeper, the employee, the store employee, points out, played by Nassim Pedrad.
Yeah.
And this might actually be the closest like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon thing we have to this show because we have met Nassim Pedrad.
Whoa.
I was gonna say like, don't you remember this? But like, I sometimes forget who I'm talking to. But I caught myself that time.
You forget that I forget everything?
Right.
Okay, can you, I mean, we're getting into tangents already. Can you bring us back to when we met her?
It's very simple. Nassim Pedrad was on SNL for several years.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we met her at the SNL after party of the episode that we were on.
Oh, I mean, you may have met her. I definitely didn't, like, meet her.
We were sitting at the same table, so I'm assuming she came up to us.
Was I even sitting at a table?
I think she introduced herself, in fact. I just remember talking to her at the party.
Right. And I'm not saying that didn't happen at all. I'm not denying
No, I know that's not what you're saying.
I'm sorry. I'm saying that I don't remember that.
Anyways, back to the show.
Back to Sunny.
What else happens in this scene? Oh, she meets Brad Fisher.
Yeah, and then she starts hitting on him, and I love the fact that oh man, how does it come up? But she says the engagement didn't work out while she's wearing the dress. Because she's wearing a wedding dress, and he's like, "Oh, are you getting married?" Which is like a silly question because, of course. And she's like,
"Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not. This is because I was, but that didn't work out. Why are you asking? Are you single? What's your situation?"
Yeah, she really fumbles a little bit there.
So yeah, it's crazy because it must, like, how fresh must her breakup have been,
right,
for her to be wearing a wedding dress?
Because if anything, she would be returning it.
Exactly. Like,
which does not require a fitting.
Right. If she was there with it in her hand, it would make perfect sense. Like, oh, I've been avoiding this because I've been really upset. It didn't work out. I'm returning this. She's wearing it. She must have just gotten off the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, what about you? Are you single? It's amazing. Also, we should probably go back and talk about her salt semen.
Oh,
fiance.
yeah. Let's just quickly touch back on that because that's an amazing interaction.
She's just kind of on fire this whole time.
The store employee is like,
I think I'm going to need some proof that you're actually getting married.
When is the wedding? I think is the first question.
Soon.
Where is the wedding?
A church.
Which church?
The nearby one.
Which street?
Spring.
And then, the best part is, what's your fiance's name?
What's your fiance's name?
Sam.
What does he do?
Salt. Salt? He's sea salt. Sea salt. He's a salt seaman.
Truly some amazing, like, nimble-footed, horribly done, but like in a very funny way.
When Nassim goes to get the manager, she has a really great line when she says,
"Okay, I'm getting the manager."
Well, don't get the... damn it.
She doesn't even finish the sentence.
Yeah. And she sees Brad Fisher from high school, played by Nick Weschler.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean Sam Weschler?
Is his name Sam?
He's one of those guys that uses his like middle name as his first name or something.
Oh, so his real name is Sam?
Samuel Nicholas Weschler.
I see.
I for some reason I have distrust for those people.
Except for Fisher Stevens, because he just made his name badass.
Oh, was it Stephen Fisher's?
Stephen Fisher, yeah.
That's totally different. When you just switch them.
Nick Weschler has been in it seems kind of like a bunch of stuff. A lot of stuff that I haven't seen. He's got like a real soap opera face, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, like an annoyingly handsome guy, which is why he was cast in this role, because he was the ugly kid in high school with all the acne, and then he became super hot, and then we will slowly reveal his plan to take revenge on everybody in high school that was mean to him.
The one notable casting thing about Nick Wechsler that I will point out is that he is apparently going to be in The Boys next season, and I love that show.
What is The Boys?
The Boys is this like, it's like, I mean, I can compare it to things, but I don't know that you're going to understand what I'm saying.
Well, for the listeners, I mean, I'm not your only audience here.
It's like a semi-satirical superhero thing, where like the superheroes are a corporation and they're all super fucked up and they do terrible things and they like work with the government and the military, and they have this like outward projected image of them being like there's a Superman and there's a Wonder Woman, but like they are all really, really terrible people and they're all really famous and they like run their superhero business like as a corporation. It's
right.
very dark, very gory, very bloody. It's really good.
The superheroes front facing like audience, the fans not know, do they just think they're actually cool superheroes and that's
Exactly.
the front? Oh, okay, yeah. That's a cool concept. I like that.
Anyways, he's gonna be in that next season.
Speaking of boys, real quick, Nassim Pedrad has a new show that has, I guess it was one season, it just got picked up. It's called Chad, I think, where she plays like a 14-year-old boy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think she played like, she kind of had that boy thing in SNL too, if I'm remembering correctly.
Right, she had like a lot of characters that were young boys.
Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to say that, she created the show. She like created it, wrote it, directed it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But she did it with Rob Rossell.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yeah, nice connection there.
Not bad.
Not bad.
I think we could end this intro by saying when the waitress steps in, because Brad Fisher's like, oh, I just got engaged, blah, 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 and she's bummed.
Yeah.
Dee is bummed. And then to close the scene when the waitress steps in, Dee just says,
Oh my God.
It's delivered perfectly. I had it written down. That was my second favorite line from this episode.
oh, man.
It's really, really well done.
It's almost, she says like, God damn it.
Yeah.
But that, oh my God, is like so believable.
And the look on both the waitress and Dee's face in that is so funny.
Yeah.
I also just wanted to point out the great Edward James Olmos reference.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess I should.
That like Dee says that's what she's in high school. She said he was going to grow up to look like him. Star of one of my favorite shows of all time, Battlestar Galactica.
Good old Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, when I heard that, I had to Google it, and I literally Googled Edward James Almost.
Yeah, I saw your notes. Yeah, I thought that was funny.
That's probably not surprising to you, but he looks really cool. Like he's
he's the coolest
dude.
looking. Yeah.
Anyway, then we get title screen. Cool.
Will, why don't you tell me a little bit about the alliances in this episode?
Okay, I can do that.
It's a little like fluidy.
I was gonna say so Dee brings this news to the gang, specifically to Mac and Dennis, and then Frank, because they don't want to involve Charlie.
But Frank already knows also, which is very funny.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. Artemis told me.
Right, yeah. Old news. Yeah, so it seems like Mac and Dennis splinter off to work on Charlie and getting him back out there, getting him like a rebound sort of distraction or a new girl to stalk so that he doesn't kill them. So they've got a little alliance. And then Dee is sort of on her own, but brings in Frank to help out with her plan of breaking up the waitress and Brad Fisher.
Right. Everybody but Charlie has the same objective. So
Frank seems like he's agnostic. He doesn't really care.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. And I think it should be stated also in discussing alliances that the only reason that there is this alliance is because it's pure self-preservation. It's not because
no
it's not
one
because
is
they
concerned
care about
for
Charlie.
Charlie, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if at any point... I mean, Dee does say that he'll be crushed. I think Dennis actually might even say, like, what the fuck? We don't care about that at all.
Right.
I cannot believe you're not thinking about Charlie right now. This is gonna crush him.
What? You don't give a shit about Charlie. All you care about is the fact the waitress is getting married before you.
That's when, amazingly, Mac, I think he's ocularly patting her down.
He could be. Yeah, he's got that squint stare.
Yeah,
thing.
he's like squinting at her, and he's like,
That, or she's afraid that Charlie might blow his brains out, and then she'd have to do all the Charlie work.
That's what it is.
and she's like offended for a second, and then
But-
says, first, I definitely don't want to do the Charlie work.
Right.
Second, he might kill us too.
Yeah, so basically everyone but Charlie and then Charlie in a roundabout way.
With Frank just kind of going along for the ride.
You want to talk about some highlights?
I would love to talk about some highlights.
Frank on the phone with who we later learned to be Artemis.
Yeah.
He's introduced in a really wonderful way in this episode. I believe the line is,
Oh, I'm a bad boy. I'm a bad boy.
So you kind of know what you're introduced and you know what's going on in that phone conversation.
and the gang just like walks in and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he's like, "That's my booty call."
Oh, who was that?
That's my booty call. We're into some really weird food fetish stuff.
And then later, when Dee is telling everyone that the waitress is getting married, Frank is just like, "Oh yeah, Artemis told me about that." Dee is wondering why the fuck he would be talking to Artemis. And there's a great,
She's my booty call.
Weird.
he's like pointing at the phone. They're into some food fetish shit, which is recurring because we do see it again.
Mm-hmm.
I think specifically we see them bang, or we don't see them, but we're led to believe that they're banging inside of a dumpster, maybe again outside of Wendy's.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
When Who Got Dee Pregnant, when that's being sorted out. I guess it's like sort of a like pretty legendary Always Sunny scene when Dennis and Mac are setting up the dating profile.
Yeah, it is absolutely iconic.
First of all, Charlie is smoking cigarettes and blowing it into a box.
It's sort of how you calm down bees.
Right.
I don't know if it works for hornets.
Or if it works as like cigarette smoke.
Yeah, cigarette smoke might be a different kind.
But I think the most important thing to remember from this scene is that Charlie says,
Let me pop a quick H on this box. This way we all know it's filled with hornets. Okay?
Right.
to be later referenced. There's all kinds of amazing things that Charlie says as they're setting up the dating profile. One of the first things he says when they're talking about like putting on makeup and like trying to make him look cooler for the photo, he says,
Well, those hornets things are pretty bad, buddy, so I think we're gonna have to...
who I am.
which then quickly turns into like, what if I wore like a checkered hat and had a pipe?
The pipe, do the Sherlock Holmes look.
Why would you want to do that?
Intelligent women. Okay, I'm just going to take the...
Yeah, I thought that was pretty reasonable.
Yeah. We get the ghouls, we get the milk steak. Milk steak's not a real thing, right?
No, but it can be. If you would like a special episode of this podcast where I make a milk steak and you make a vegan milk steak, I think that'd be sweet.
Yuck. And then, of course, it ends with dislikes are people's knees.
Knees, yeah. And I don't know if they're on their way out, but his line of
Cover your knees up if you're going to be walking around everywhere.
is amazing.
The scene where Dee holds up traffic.
Very Philly. I mean, it's so nice to see. I don't know why I don't see this more, but Philly just has a shit ton of streets that are one way with parking on both sides and one small lane in between. And yeah, whenever they do outdoor shots that show that, it's like maybe it's more South Philly than a lot of other places, but it just feels so good and familiar.
Understandable as a former resident. I think one of the funniest parts about it to me is the people that are just like standing on their porches, obviously watching them film this.
Right.
There's a person that's like basically just like looking at the camera. Because I sent you a video. I don't know if you watched that.
The video of Charlie and Brad, the final scene.
Yeah, this guy's like, yeah, they filmed in my house, and it took a whole day for them to get this like tiny little thing. It's like, yeah, this TV production is time consuming.
Yeah, that one shot all day.
Dig.
Dee's Party. Groove is in the Heart playing in the background.
Great song.
Great song. This is kind of where we see a little bit of the Artemis Frank dynamic
Right.
in tandem.
Yeah, we see it live in person.
DeAndre, you got any bacon bits? We like to put them in Artemis's hair, and they rain down on me when we bang.
I feel like a Cobb salad. It's amazing.
Dee's response of, why would you want to feel like a Cobb salad?
Doesn't matter. That's good.
So
Bring
good.
that up when Brad gets here.
Yeah.
Like, she's just making sure that it's like the biggest possible freak show.
Yeah, the worst, most awkward event.
And this is also where the episode really turns into like the dream team, if you will. We got Artemis.
Right.
We got Mrs. Mack. We got Bonnie Kelly.
Bonnie Kelly, yeah.
We got the waitress. Yeah, there's like a funny thing with Dee making a deal with Mrs. Mack to say that she used to look like the waitress when she was younger.
Right, for a carton of cigarettes.
Yeah.
There's a whole carton of cigarettes in it.
And Bonnie is, of course, getting drunk.
Yeah, keep up the drinking. Let's go. She says, remember, this is the woman who is breaking your son's heart.
Powerful stuff. When the waitress and Brad arrive, Brad's like, yeah, it took a little convincing for this one. And Dee says,
Oh, you big old fat stick in the mud. Come on in, you guys.
Yeah, Dee is not being very subtle.
So we talked about Charlie setting up the dating profile. Now we see the result of that. Another like fairly iconic bit.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You were saying before that you thought Charlie looked good. He's got like a nice shirt on. He's sweating through it.
He's got a button-down shirt on. He is very sweaty, but still manages to look great, I think. I mean, some people, it doesn't matter what they wear. It's how they wear it. It's how they present themselves, And he is just a wonderful human.
There's a great blooper for this scene when Charlie does the like big exhale.
That's not a little
I
rock.
freaked out,
That is
man,
a
and I
rock.
just started eating cheese.
Okay, don't breathe in her direction.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Glenn Howerton and Rob McElhenney like can't stop laughing at that part.
Right. Yeah, I ate some cheese. He's like, how much cheese did you eat? How much is too much?
He ate a block because apparently it calms him down.
Yeah, you get nervous, you eat cheese. I do like how that comes back. Is that when he's dating that rich woman? They like bring over a cart of cheese and he's trying to act cool.
Yeah. He's like, he's barely holding it together. And then he just like goes in with both hands.
Both hands, yeah, just dives in, grabs handfuls of cubed cheese. Doesn't seem very fancy now that I think back.
No, it's kind of weird,
Seems like
but
cheddar and Swiss cubes on a tray at
like
a fancy restaurant.
Fancy restaurants, I think of like the dessert cart.
Right, but in this world, it's a cheese cart.
So I guess the main bit that we're to take away from this scene is that Charlie can't say the word philanthropist.
Right, he's really struggling with it.
Can't say that he's a janitor at a bar. He needs something like fancier and more impressive.
Right, and I guess something that's not technical because he might not know about it.
What is that? All right, listen, man, you're a philanthropist. That's what you are, okay? You used to own a small business, but you gave all that up to help others.
Right. Now, who do I help? Who am I helping?
It doesn't matter. I don't know, old people, children, autistics, dyslexic
It really
folks.
doesn't matter. I'm a full-on
Philanthropist.
Dude, I can't get it. Well, how do you say it? What is it?
Philanthropist.
Oh, my.
Okay, now we're at the newlywed game.
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is just a chaotic, everything kind of goes south real quick. First, Dee reveals, or I guess it is revealed to Dee that the waitress actually broke Brad's heart in high school, where Dee, I'm sure not for the first time in this series, is like, wait, you went to high school with us?
Wait, you went to high school with us?
Yeah, I sat right next to you in Trig.
Wow, you are very forgettable.
And then the next line reveals that Frank slept with the waitress, and Brad is seems a little concerned.
Whoops. Over here, guy.
Okay, you know what? That was a really dark time in my life, and it was a terrible mistake.
No, it's true.
That's such a great setup. Dee knew exactly what she was doing.
I mean, that was her whole plan. Again, yeah, not subtle. And yeah, when the things go south, Mrs. Mack, I think she says,
I used to look like her. Give me my cigarettes.
I didn't tell you to go. I didn't give you.
kind of
Yeah,
ruins that.
she waited. She didn't wait for the signal.
Right. And that's when it sort of falls apart, and it seems obvious maybe to the waitress that this is a setup, which she probably assumed prior to getting there.
Right.
And Then Mrs. Kelly, Bonnie Kelly, stands up, throws a drink in Dee's face by accident, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
because she's drunk.
It was a pretty bad shot, but yeah, let's say it was an accident.
But does she say, "Everyone's stealing my Charlie girl"?
Yeah, I don't know. She might have flubbed the line.
Everybody's stealing my Charlie girl.
I that's what I hear. Maybe you could throw it in and.
Yeah, we'll review it, but I mean, she's drunk. We'll let it slide. Everything goes south. Brad and the waitress leave. There's some great dialogue between Mrs. Mack and Bonnie and Dee. Bonnie needs a ride because she's too drunk, and Dee says,
Oh, really? Well, I ain't giving you shit, you old bitch.
and then Bonnie immediately passes out. The next time we see her, she's asleep on the couch, which is like a second later.
Right. And Dee and Artemis and Frank, I think they're gonna go bang in her bathroom or something.
No, it's getting sweaty in my bathroom. Just get out of here.
That was the idea, yeah. But Dee,
she's like, no, you're not doing that. And she's like, all right, fine, we'll go to the Wendy's bathroom. And her line is, what is it like?
Great, go have sex at Wendy's. Wonderful. Get out of here.
Yeah, that reminded me of the Digital Underground song.
I'm a freak. I like the girls with the boom. I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom. I'm crazy. Allow me to.
Maybe a subtle nod. I'm not sure. But I forgot to mention that in the Dee's party scene, my favorite line of this episode is not really a line. It's Mrs. Mack coughing to start out that scene. It is unbelievable.
She is a fantastic actor.
Sandy Martin, yeah. You really believe that she's like got emphysema or something.
Right.
It's really well done.
Come on. Do the Humpty Hump. Come on, do the Humpty Hump. Check me out, y'all. Do the Humpty Hump.
What is it, Jackie? His date?
Jackie,
Is that her name?
yeah.
She rules. She's awesome.
Agreed.
My favorite part from her is she has this flat, like non-smile facial expression when he admits to being a janitor, and
Right.
it's like such a subtle response, but it's so believable.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of disappointment.
But also like disappointment in herself that like
right, maybe for
she's
agreeing
like,
to go to
yeah,
the state.
Yeah, she was like, obviously this is like the reality of the situation is like settling on her.
Yeah.
And she's upset that it's taken this long.
Jackie, played by Joy Osmansky, another person who's like been in a fair amount of stuff. I know her best. I didn't know that she did this role before I saw this episode, but I learned that she was the voice of a like malfunctioning AI in a game called Destiny 2.
I can help you, but I'm gonna be super unpleasant about it.
But yeah, she's like a like sort of comedic, little comedy relief character. Mm-hmm. She's trying to help you, but there's like two sides of her where she's like super chirpy and happy, and then she like flips into this other voice. Anyway, she's amazing. And like all the people, because after I learned this, I like looked up what people were saying about her and like reviews and stuff, and like everyone loves her. She's a huge hit in the game, and it's a pretty big game.
I really like when they go into the bathroom. I don't know if you heard this, or I mean, how could you have not? But I didn't remember it until this viewing. But after Dennis refuses to give Charlie his shirt and says, like, how would that even work? It's a totally different shirt. The noise that Charlie makes in response.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
I don't remember it. I don't know.
That shirt is ruined.
I know, dude. Give me your shirt.
What? Give you?
That's a totally different shirt.
Yeah, can I get a hair?
It's like a line, but it's not I don't know if there's a word in there, or if there's a couple of words, if he fucked it up, but it's just like frustration and disappointment. And he's just like, it's something that you would do as a real human, but it almost would never get left in a show.
How would you write it, right?
No, it would be like literally a mash of letters. It was very strange. I don't know if it was a mistake or if it was intentional, but it was very strange. But my favorite part of this like tail end, or of them in the bathroom, like trying to get Charlie psyched up to go back out there and seal the deal, is Mac's suggestion of, well, it's not the suggestion, it's the result of it, but he suggests that he just go for it, just make a move.
I love this.
Tell her that you want to, like bang her or whatever it was.
Right.
And Dennis is like, no, that is opposite. What does that work for you? And he's like, well,
just tell her you want to bang her. No, is that how you get chicks?
Well, he's got a 50-50 shot.
That's a good point. Yes or no scenario.
It is a no scenario.
Why?
and coming from someone who like studied economics and has that kind of brain, I love when people are like, well, the result is either yes or no. So it's like there's a 50-50 chance. Like tomorrow it's either going to rain or it's not going to rain. So does that mean
50-50 chance? Right.
Yeah, the two outcomes. And then, one outcome divided by the total number of outcomes, it's a 50% chance of it raining.
I had that written down as Mac math.
Yeah, exactly. The math is staggering.
And there's some truly amazing intervening on the date by first Dennis, then Mac.
Yeah.
Dennis is doing like slightly more subtle. He's trying to steer the ship in like a sort of reasonable.
Yeah, he's doing damage control because Charlie is just off the. I mean, there's nothing that's going to actually fix it, but Dennis is doing his best to bail this sinking ship out.
Hi, I'm the manager, and Mr. Kelly is one of our preferred customers. It's so wonderful to see you here again this evening.
Now, I'm going to want the milk steak boiled over hard.
And of course, Charlie orders the milk steak and the jelly beans raw. Yeah. Which Dennis is just like, you can just see it in his face, like, shut the fuck up. Haha, you're such a funny guy. Like,
what a sense of humor. Yep.
Yeah. And then.
And it's possible that could have saved it,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
Like,
I honestly feel like Dennis was trying.
And it might have happened, but that's when Mac steps in.
We get Mac in, again, the polo shirt and the blue Dickies, the standard Mac formal wear.
Formal wear. I believe he says,
I own this joint, and I know this guy, and he is loaded. Mr. Kelly, we have your milk boiling just the way you like it back there for your steak.
You're going to like it.
this joint, and he is loaded. I've got your milk boiling just how you like it.
Yeah. God, Mac, he just totally fucked it up.
He says he's going to clean out the fucking coat closet so you guys can bang or get it on.
That is probably in a normal circumstance, that would be like the last straw for Jackie.
Yeah.
But there's still one more thing that Mac encourages him to do, which is make the move, I think is what he says. And I guess Charlie just interpreted that incorrectly, or maybe correctly. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah, I don't think we get it, but Mac might think that. Oh no, he does say.
You're right.
I told you.
He
doesn't want him to stab. But yeah, so Charlie leans across the table and tries to grab her breasts in a very like weird,
like an alien.
He tries to take them.
Yeah, like an alien new to Earth.
Oh,
and of course,
Jackie.
That's when Jackie leaves. Like she should have got out of there when the milk steak was ordered, but
I mean, maybe she thought he was as handsome as I did.
Yeah,
so she was trying to make it work.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, I know that you're happily married, but tell me you haven't stayed in relationships longer than you should have in the past.
Of course.
So Jackie may be walking out, and in hindsight, she might be thinking of, you know what? He was handsome, but it wasn't worth it. I'm going to go on record and say that Dennis and Mac, 1-2, they ruined it, not Charlie.
Yeah. I mean, they were making him, like, the whole episode, they've been trying to make him something that he's not. And as he says, I am who I am.
Yeah,
and they tried to make him something different, which sucks out all the charm of Charlie. He becomes this, like,
Jackie
nervous.
would have loved who Charlie was.
We'll never know.
Oh, well. Anyway, you were saying?
Oh, I was just saying there's some great screaming, classic Always Sunny screaming in a restaurant, and like all the patrons are like noticing. Right. And the line that really stuck out to me from that is,
we don't know shit about chicks, we don't know shit about chicks.
And then Dennis just like loses his cool, and he's like,
guess what, bro? The waitress is getting married, so suck on that.
Which is just a really awful way of breaking the news to him.
Yeah, his frustration gets the best of him. I guess I'll be having that milk steak to go.
We next see the gang in Patty's, where Mac is loading a gun.
Oh, right. And Dennis has a bat?
Yeah. Is that the same gun from Gun Fever? It's got to be, right?
I assume so, but I can't keep track. I think it's the one that Frank usually carries around, to be honest.
It's a revolver.
Because it's a really short, it's a really stubby revolver. It's like easy to like just pull out of your waistband.
And I believe it's Frank being like,
Oh, don't worry about Charlie. Charlie's over this. In fact, I saw him this morning. He said he was bringing the guy a congratulatory gift.
I got to be honest with you, I don't love this ending.
Yeah, neither do I. I think that it starts off good. I like the fact that he shows up at the door with the Hornet box, and he has the H on it presented.
Clearly marked H.
But in Brad's defense, there's no way of telling like what an H stands for unless you know that it's
of course
bee,
not.
wasp, or
I mean, the packaging maybe is a little
would indicate, but
dodgy.
But if Charlie was giving a present to someone, like a really great present to someone, he would also probably wrap it that way.
Yeah. I mean,
Brad
had like no hesitation about it. He's like, here's this guy that I sort of remember from high school who's bringing me a congratulatory gift for my fake wedding to this person that I don't know that he even knows.
Right. I mean, yes, definitely suspect. But I like Charlie's performance. I think that he seems believable.
Yeah.
Like he's admitting defeat, but he also is like, so I can't tell if he's like determined to undo it or if he's actually admitting defeat and he's like, it's over. And he's sad, but there's a little bit of revenge, obviously, in the Hornets. His voice is a very unique state.
This is for your engagement, man. You're lucky. Lucky dude, and congratulations to you.
No. I think he's just going out with a bang.
Right. Like he
I think he's accepted it.
Yeah, that's what his voice sounds like to me. And then when he finds out it isn't. But honestly, I think I just hate Brad's performance in this. I thought he was pretty good up until now.
Uh-huh.
I just don't think he's great at the door. He's like, hey, aren't you Charlie Kelly from high school?
Well, I agree with you 100%, but I do think there is a bright, shining moment in that when he says, you remember how they used to make fun of us in high school? And Charlie's like,
remember how they made fun of you?
Anyway.
Yeah, and Brad has this like look like, I don't know. That part is a good performance, I think. But
I mean, yes, even in subpar, like not spectacular scenes, you can always find something, especially when Charlie's around.
Yeah.
You can always find something amazing.
Yeah, so we later see like Brad gets his face ruined by the Hornets.
Which is actually like some clever writing because in high school he was made fun of because he had acne and now it's Hornet stings.
Hornet scars. As we will see in the high school reunion.
In just a short 2 years.
To wrap this up, Will Noon. What's your grade?
A plus.
I'm giving it an A-.
Unsurprising.
Yeah, it's just kind of the ending.
Yeah.
And like I think the pacing is a little weird because it just kind of like ends abruptly.
Yeah.
That's really it. That's really all it is. I love they have so many great guest actors.
It would be nice to see Jackie come back.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen, but
neither do I.
Anyways, if you would like to follow us on Instagram at always_Stockholm, on Twitter at alwaysstockholm.
And just remember, we are the #1 Always Sunny recap podcast with one host in Sweden and one host in Costa Rica.
Just so #1, baby.
We are #1. No one beats us.
And with that, I'll bid you adieu.
Hasta luego, my amigo.
Watch out.
Brought to you by the Nutty and New Network.